In this episode, Golden and I discuss The Twilight Zone Season 2. Full speed ahead. Welcome to the Omega Beam number 88. I'm your host, Orrin Merton, and I hope you've been managing to enjoy yourself while staying safe this summer. So, hey, did you know that last year Jordan Peele resurrected The Twilight Zone? It tried to honor the tone and spark of the original 60s series as much as possible, and it was greenlit for a season 2. So season 2 just started streaming a while back on the CBS All-Access channel in the USA, and I'm assuming whatever streaming channel globally carried season 1. So it's all there, and if you've binged it or not, we keep spoilers to a minimum so you can enjoy our discussion either way. Let's go. I am here with Golden to talk about The Twilight Zone, Season 2. This is the Jordan Peele remake that started last year, so no one thinks we're talking about the 1959 original by Rod Serling. We did the last season, and we enjoyed it. It wasn't necessarily euphoric and perfect, but certainly it had some of the original, the way that it dealt with issues and creepiness and stuff like that. So what do we think of the second one?
I thought the second season was okay. I think the first 6 episodes I really enjoyed, and then it kind of fell off for me a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, I did enjoy episode 8, A Small Town, but 7, which was A Human Face, 9, Try, and 10, You Might Also Like, were okay. But otherwise, I thought a lot of the episodes I did very much enjoy them, though.
The interesting thing about A Small Town, which you pointed out, is that I think, I have a kind of a rosy-colored memory of the original Twilight Zones, which I watched on reruns. But I think while most were creepy and the protagonist ends up losing or, being messed up by what's happening in the Twilight Zone, it seemed like there were a fair number where either through strength of character or making the right choices, the protagonist actually escapes the worst fate. And Jordan Peele doesn't do that quite as much. But the one you pointed out, A Small Town, I think that was one where you had a good protagonist who is not sort of brought down, if you will, by what's going on around him.
He starts to let it get to him a little bit.
He does.
But in the end, I think he finds himself again.
Yeah, and I always liked those stories, the ones that sort of showed the resilience and people able to overcome that. I don't want to give any spoilers, but the season finale is in a sense the exact opposite of that.
We both came away with a different opinion of why it ended that way. That episode.
That is true. And I guess that speaks well for the show that you can have
2 different perspectives.
Yeah, you can have different perspectives. I think as a host, Jordan Peele, we comment, I think overall he's good. I think the writing is good. But sometimes it does seem like he tries a little too hard. You pointed out on a couple episodes, it seemed like his pregnant pauses were
in his narration. But...
yeah, like triplets. They were so long.
Yeah, no, the first episode, Meet in the Middle, very much enjoyed it. For me, it was a little predictable, but still enjoyable. Downtime was very interesting.
Yeah.
And that's one where I kind of feel like the protagonist won.
In a sense, I would say so, that the protagonist won in that one as well. It maybe not as cut and dry in the sense that who the protagonist is almost a little in question.
Okay.
But I would agree with that, yeah.
The Who of You was episode 3.
That was okay.
And that I thought it was fun. It was a fun little episode. It was fun watching it play out. Number 4 was Ovation. It was an interesting take on celebrity.
Yeah, talk about being a little bit predictable. That was one where I was turning to you saying, oh, I think this is going to happen. Of course it did.
Number 5, the Among the Untrodden. We both had our guesses as to what was going to play out and how it was going to play out. And in some ways, we each got a little bit correct.
Yeah.
But not quite.
Exactly. And I think
that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. And I think that Among the Trodden was actually one of the stronger episodes because I don't think it was one of those episodes where it does, all the seeds are planted through the entire episode, but it doesn't lead you in the direction of it being a predictable story. And that's not easy to do. And I think it was well written. I think the actors did a great job too. So that was definitely a highlight for me.
So the next one was 8.
Not episode number 8, but the one named 8.
Yes, episode 6 is called 8. And that was it was just kind of a freaky episode.
It was more of a monster, a mini monster movie.
And then episode 7, A Human Face. It was okay. I mean, I think that one I kind of got a little lost on. Episode 8, A Small Town, pulled me back into the series. And then Try began really well, and it just became I think it's a very uncomfortable episode.
Well, I think both in first season, there was an episode called Not All Men, which was like a meteor lands in a town and all the men start acting like rapists. And I think that Jordan Peele, every season, I think he wants to have an episode showing men behaving badly and how bad it is as like his feminist episode. Okay. So Try was his feminist episode.
And then episode number 10, you might also like.
Right.
Was interesting. And like we said earlier, it's one that you saw the ending in one way and what the character does and why the character does that. And I saw it for a different reason.
One thing I did like about this one is, this time without spoilers, the first season's finale had some black and white where it brought in like a Rod Serling as if really hearkening back to the first series. So it did the same here. There's a part of the story that is black and white and harkens back to the original series.
And there's a special guest appearance by George Takei.
That's true. There is. So you clearly get the feeling that Jordan Peele is doing these out of love, that he has the deepest respect, that he's not just trying to take a property and put his imprint on it.
No, I didn't think that. I think that he is trying to revive what we all loved about the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, and
I'm curious what season 3 will bring.
Exactly. I hope there is a season 3. Yeah, I do, because I think even though I think both of us were not totally blown away to the point that every episode is a modern classic, it's good enough and it's interesting enough and the twists are twisty enough and the acting is good enough, the writing is good enough that it kept us. The first season kept us, the second season kept us, and we want to see a third.
Yes.
And that's kind of it. It's an anthology. We don't want to give too much away.
Definitely. I mean, you have some special appearances by some actors and actresses that are well known, but otherwise you don't need those names to carry the episodes.
Right. And I would agree, and I would even go a little further that I think sometimes for stories like this, it's almost better if it's just a character actor whom you're not familiar with, because you're not saying, oh, hey, look, there's, Brad Pitt.
I still like Marina Baccarin in her episode.
Oh, well, yeah.
And also, Topher Grace in the one that he's in.
Talk about playing against type. Anyway, but yeah, he was great. He was fantastic. I love seeing him in almost everything, seeing Marina Baccarin in almost everything. There were a few faces that we knew, definitely.
If I mispronounced her name, I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too. I may have mispronounced it as well. All right. Well, thank you, Golden.
You're welcome.
And that's it for this episode. You can find the show notes at theomegabeam.com/88. If you liked this episode, please leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. These reviews help other people who like this stuff find our podcast. If you have any comments or suggestions, please drop us a line at info@theomegabeam.com. Be good to yourselves and each other, and we'll catch you next time.